Hello and welcome back to Tip the Footy, the site that is more than just tips. So today we're going to have a quick look at the winners and losers in the transfer window, see how your team fared there, and a little bit of build up to the Premier League being back today. It's finally back, so that should be a lot of fun. I can't wait for the season to start. So it's Liverpool and Norwich tonight at Anfield, so we'll cover a little bit on that as well. But first of all, we'll just discuss the transfers real quick. Liverpool's window is virtually non-existent. Will that come back to haunt us? Maybe with an injury crisis, it possibly could. I do believe the other teams had to spend a lot more than we did because there is a gap to bridge. But I'm not massively convinced that we should have done nothing. I think that looking at the wide forward areas, I would like to see some cover for Mane and Mo, particularly with them both having significantly long years. They had the World Cup in the previous gap between obviously the seasons. Then they had the African Cup of Nations this time round, so there's not been much a chance of a break for those. And I would like to have seen someone a bit more experienced who can play right and left back, who isn't James Milner, just like someone similar, but just to be able to cover both sides in full-back positions. But it didn't happen, so we go with what we've got. I think Man United had a poor window. I think they strengthened a couple of areas that they needed to strengthen. I think particularly the centre-back issue was something that needs to be addressed. But for the amount of money that club generates, for what they've actually purchased, is pretty awful. I mean, they let Lukaku go. They haven't really got a replacement there. They've done nothing to that midfield, really. I think, Daniel James could well come good. The last time they had a Welsh winger seemed to work out all right for them. Excusing infidelity and all that kind of stuff, though, and don't let him near his brother's wife. But other than that, they needed something a bit more in midfield. They didn't do that, and not replacing Lukaku means that I would assume there's going to be a lot more, not necessarily pressure, but a lot more reliance on Rashford and Martial and possibly Mason Greenwood. It'd be interesting to see how he copes with it, but I expect to see him get plenty more games on now, particularly maybe in the Europa League. So looking at Leicester, they did some really good business as well. The late signing yesterday of Pryor was pretty good. They've got Tielemans now on permanent deal. I think they've done reasonably well in this window. Aston Villa have bought virtually a new 11. They look like they've done some good business. As I said previously, I don't think they've done the Fulham so much. I think if they integrate properly, maybe don't try and throw everything out the window and start with a whole new 11. But if they can just drip players in and get them up to speed, I think they've had a pretty good window too. You look at West Ham have done okay. Everton have done really well, I think, in the window. I think they're not getting Zaha is a bit of a weird one. I think Palace have probably done well to hold on to him. He is contracted though, so at the end of the day he signed it. No one's forcing his hand to do so. So it was down to him whether he got the move. He tried, he put the transfer request in. But at the end of the day, there wasn't really enough time for Palace to have replaced him adequately anyway. So keeping hold of him's probably kept them up for the season, and that'll probably be revisited in January or next summer. But I think Everton have done well. I think losing Gay might be a little bit of an issue, but other than that, I think Everton are looking pretty strong. I think Iwobi's going to be a good sign. He seems like a really nice guy, and yeah, I think Everton have done pretty well. Now you come on to where it all really went down. Newcastle as well. Newcastle have picked up some decent players, but again they're still sort of short in a few areas. But we'll see how they get on over the course of the season. Now we come to the best part of the transfer window. I think the two teams that have absolutely nailed it, and they're both in North London. I think Arsenal and Spurs have had fantastic transfer windows. All this talk of Arsenal having a £45 million budget looks to have been utter bollocks, because they've gone in and brought, I think Kieran Tierney is going to be an absolutely outstanding left back for them. Very, very good for Celtic. One thing I'm not too sure about though is a lot. I know it's not all Celtic fans, because it wouldn't be, but there's a numerous amount of Celtic fans with hideous abuse for the guy over on Twitter and social media and stuff. And I'm not really sure why that is. He didn't seem to leave in a bad manner or under a cloud. He just seemed to, a bid was accepted and off he went. I think he's right to test himself in the Premier League. I think it is obviously a lot more competitive than the Scottish League. So I think you got to let him go with your blessing in a certain way. I don't think he disrespected the club, in my opinion. But then again, if you're a Celtic fan watching and you think he did, let me know in the comments, because I'm not sure exactly what he has done wrong. But looking into Arsenal now, I think they sorted some really key areas out. David Luiz is hit and miss. I always thought he was better in a back three than he was in a two. I think he's made a lot of errors in his career, but he's not the worst defender in the world. But I think he's an upgrade on what they had, so that's one thing. As I said, Tierney at left back, getting Pepe in was great business. Ceballos on loan. They're looking strong, Arsenal. I had them finishing outside the top four in the predictions video before the transfer window, a few days, I think 5 days before the transfer window closed. And I think given the business Arsenal have done now, I think they should finish above Manchester United. I think Manchester United and Chelsea will now be the battling for fifth and sixth. I think what Arsenal have done, particularly deadline day, will put them in fourth spot. So I have to revise my predictions, but obviously my predictions are what they are. But I would suggest now that with the business that's been done late, because I thought the defence was the problem area for Arsenal, I think now they've improved that. Not massively, but they have improved it, particularly left back. I think they'll finish fourth. And then you go on to Tottenham, who were already stronger than Arsenal before the window. Although I think Arsenal have bought specific players that they absolutely needed. Spurs have just strengthened further of what already was a stronger squad, so it's arguable who's won the window in that respect. But I think looking at Giovanni Lo Celso, I mean, he was great for Real Betis last season. He really did. He looked sharp, alert, really good on the ball, technically gifted, great strike, very cute as well in his play. I think that's a really good sign. I think Ndombele is going to be a really good sign. I think Sessegnon is didn't quite work from when he was at Fulham in the Premier League. It didn't seem to set the world on fire, which a lot of people thought he would do. But I think in going to a team like Tottenham, who are up there fighting on multiple fronts, I think he's gonna really enhance them, and I think he's gonna get a lot better under Pochettino. So yeah, I mean, as windows go, I think Spurs and Arsenal have absolutely knocked it out the park. Spurs needed to invest a bit, needed to give Poch some players who he could work with and develop. The Eriksen situation, whether he'll still be there at the end of the window, I don't know. But so for me, it's Spurs and Arsenal, and it's a toss of a coin. Who thinks had the better window from them two? I would edge towards the better window being Arsenal, purely because they strengthened the areas they really need to strengthen in, and Spurs were already better, but have now got that better again, and it should make for a more entertaining fight at the top. Although I do still believe that the ultimate fight is going to be between Liverpool and Manchester City, who again, Manchester City have strengthened. Again, they've got another right back in. They've got Rodri, who looks really, really good, and there's talk of Fernandinho maybe dropping back. If he doesn't play as much, then Rodri can step in. He looks like an adequate replacement there without any problems. Obviously, Leroy Sané's got a pretty bad injury, so I think that's probably scuppered any move to Bayern Munich in this window. Obviously, wish him well. You don't want to ever see a player injured. So that's the transfer roundup, essentially. So now on to tonight. It's back, thank God. So we've got Liverpool Norwich at Anfield. I think it's 8 o'clock kick-off tonight. So I'm expecting a comfortable Liverpool win. I've said it on Twitter. I think it's going to be Liverpool 4, Norwich 0. I think that there's always the opportunity for a bit of a shock, but I don't think Norwich are good enough to cause it. Not today. a lot will hinge on Teemu Pukki for Norwich. I think if he can replicate the goal scoring form of the Championship, then it gives him a real good chance of staying up. I don't think he'll get as many, and I think that they're going to be in a bit of a relegation battle, and ultimately I think they'll go back down. But they're a good, well organised side. Daniel Farke's got them playing some good football, but they are very open at the back. They're defensively they concede a lot of goals. They score a lot of goals, but they do concede a lot of goals. I mean, last season there was some mad games involving them. They seem to score about 80% of their goals in the last 10 minutes or something bizarre like that. Even when games were going on like 97 minutes, there seemed to be 2 goals in that period of time between 90 and 97. But so they'll keep going to the end. You know, that's a good positive mindset to have as a new promoted side or any side. You know, you should always go to the end. But I think that the occasion's going to be a bit big for them. Coming to Anfield, obviously Liverpool fans can now forget about the transfer window and all focus now on just supporting the team, which I think will make a massive difference because it seems to be a really divided fan base over this summer, which is madness considering we won the European Cup. I'm not so sure why there was such a big division, but that's done. We know now that there's no more players coming into a minimum of January. So we go with what we got, and hopefully, the cop will be bouncing tonight, and they'll get everyone back into the swing of competing for a title again. So yeah, as I said, Liverpool to win for me quite comfortably. Any Norwich fans at all, whack your comments below. How do you think you'll finish? Where do you think you'll? How do you think you get on tonight, and where do you think you'll finish ultimately in the league? Check out the Twitter. There is our Fantasy Football League. The code's on Twitter. You can join us there. And also, if you check out the pinned tweet, we're doing the FIFA 20 giveaway or the PES 2020 giveaway, depending on which game you wish, by retweeting the pinned tweet and subscribing to us over on YouTube. So, if you did enjoy this video, and if there's anything we haven't covered that you'd like us to discuss in the future, get that in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a great day, and the football is back. Take care. I'm Dante. Bye.